what chocolate do you recommend for an Indian taste palette post dinner?
So I think dark chocolates are typically good because they have a lot of antioxidants and they are good for the heart health. They are good for the brain also.
Right.
So I think a high cocoa percentage dark chocolate after dinner is great.
You come up with such innovative ideas, like from masala chai chocolate, which has won the gold award. Then there is sitafal, jamun, fruits. I mean, the fruit flavors. You have your micro cafe.
Yes.
At Kemp's Corner. That is one of your first, I believe. And apart from chocolates, you have, micro cafe where you're serving tiramisu, latte, and you're serving coffee. And I think every chocolate has its story.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So I think while you were talking about your chocolates, I really felt like tasting all of them once again.
Yes, you should. I'll send them across to you. In fact, historically, chocolate has been used in food and as a beverage in Latin America, So Latin Americans have been consuming it as a drink traditionally. It's only when it came to Europe that Europeans converted it into a bar. So I don't think chocolate or any other sweet food in itself is a problem. I think it's, in what dosage, in what quantities you are consuming it, and whether you have an otherwise active lifestyle outside of that.
True, very
food
true.
Is also a big contributor to it.
It's important. Hi Vikas, thank you so much for being a part of my podcast.
Thanks for inviting me.
Canvas. And I have been so thrilled since the day I knew that I'm going to be interviewing Paul and Mike, because honestly, I'm a fan of your chocolates. And
nice to know. Thank you.
Yes. And the range of chocolates which you all have are breathtakingly amazing.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely. So Vikas, I'm going to start with my first question. So firstly, congratulations for winning 4 silver and 1 bronze at ICA world level. Can you take us through the winning flavors?
Right. So first of all, it was a moment of great pride for us that we won 4 silver awards and 1 bronze at this prestigious awards. I mean, it's not easy to impress the judges at this awards. They are very discerning.
Yes.
But our team had been working hard behind the scenes for the last 4-5 years, continuously improving our quality. And we had been taking part in this particular awards for the last 4-5 years since the inception of our brand. And we had been consistently getting feedback from the judges in the past editions, and we had been working on that. So I think finally all of that came together this time.
Yes.
And finally the judges, they liked what they tasted. So the 4 flavors which won were the silver award. They were all in the category of dark chocolates with infusions. And first one was gin and ginger, which got a score of 92.1.
Lovely. Yes.
100, which is pretty high. In any other year, it might have won a gold. But now with each passing year, the competition is becoming more and more intense because everybody's working on their quality.
I agree.
But this particular flavor actually was inspired from the names. It was a play on gin, ginger, because the first 3 letters are gin in both, So it was, I would say, something which we did on a lark, honestly. But it paired very well together. It came out very well together. And even the judges, they said that they really loved this pairing.
Okay.
And we actually haven't used real gin in the chocolate because by Indian laws, we can't use real alcohol in food products. So we've used juniper oil. Juniper berry is what's used to make gin.
True.
So we've used the oil of that particular berry, which gives that gin note in the chocolate. The second highest, the entry which won the second highest score was Sichuan pepper and orange peel.
Right.
This particular entry had won a silver earlier also, 2 years back. So this is the second time that this is winning a silver. And this particular variant we had actually designed for the Chinese market because in 2019, I think, just before the outbreak of COVID, we had participated in a chocolate show in Shanghai.
Interesting.
And that's where we actually took this particular flavor because Sichuan pepper is very popular in Chinese food.
True.
And it was really loved by Chinese over there. By the second day of the event, it was a 3-day event, we had sold out of this particular variant.
How lovely.
And honestly, we never thought that, it would win anything. We thought it was too out there. But the judges loved it, this particular flavor. and thanks to us participating in that exhibition, we actually came into the limelight for the first time, in 2020.
Yes.
Then the third flavor is beer. So we actually collaborated with Brew, which is a UK brand.
Correct.
And they've got some breweries here also in Bombay.
Yes.
So we collaborated with them. They've got a very popular variant of their beer called Mango IPA beer.
Okay.
Which they call as Your Place or Mine.
Correct.
So we took inspiration from that particular beer.
Yes.
We worked with their brewers and we used, their ingredients, some of their ingredients to impart those flavors to our chocolate. So that's how that came about. And the fourth is rum and rummy raisins. So rum and rummy raisins, it's got rum flavor in it. And it's got raisins which have been given a rummy vanilla note to these raisins. So again, it's a very unique flavor because when you eat the chocolate, you get slight rummy notes. When you chew into the raisins, you get rummy plus vanilla notes. So that's one of our highest selling variants, even otherwise. We are glad that, the judges liked all our creations and our thought process which was put behind creating these. That was appreciated.
That's amazing. I think every chocolate has its story.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So I think while you were talking about your chocolates, I really felt like tasting all of them once again.
Yes, you should. I'll send them across to you.
No, don't worry. It's already there in Kemp's Corner.
Yes.
It's right beside my house and I keep going there.
Nice.
But yeah, amazing. So while I spoke about Kemp's Corner, you have your micro cafe.
Yes.
At Kemp's Corner. That is one of your first, I believe. And apart from chocolates, you have, a micro cafe where you're serving tiramisu, latte, and you're serving coffee. It's so amazing. Can you tell me more about your micro cafe?
Right. So the idea behind creating that space was that, of course, we have our chocolates, but chocolates is not only about, say, the bars or the filled chocolates. In fact, historically, chocolate has been used in food and as a beverage in Latin America, So Latin Americans have been consuming it as a drink traditionally. It's only when it came to Europe that Europeans converted it into a bar.
Correct.
So we actually wanted to use chocolate in multiple forms and in multiple categories to showcase what all is possible with chocolates.
Right.
And give a very varied experience to the visitors.
Right.
So that's why we integrated this concept of a sort of micro chocolate cafe along with our chocolate shop, where you could not only buy chocolates, but you can also taste, say, chocolate drinks. Or you can taste desserts made out of chocolate, or say brownies made out of chocolate. And even some savory items which have got chocolate integrated into them.
True.
So that was the whole idea. So that, people get a little more interesting experience, and when they come with their family or say with the kids, they have something to try, and everybody has a different palate. Everybody can try something different.
True.
That was the whole idea, just to make it more interesting and fun to visit.
It is. It surely is. It's very interesting. I think I recently had tried your pumpkin latte, which you had recently come up with.
Yes.
I think that was amazing. Then I had also tasted your ice cream, which you have come up with along with the chocolate.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to stop. Of course, and even the desserts as well. It's amazing.
Right. So idea is that as you have different occasions during the course of a year, we keep trying to launch something innovative, something new at every occasion. So say, for instance, for Halloween, we had a different menu. Now Wonka movie is releasing on 8th of December. So
I saw that.
So we are going to have a couple of items based on Wonka, which will be Wonka themed.
True.
And then Christmas is coming. So we always keep trying to come up with something fun, something exciting, so that people have something to look forward to.
Lovely. So there's one more thing which is amazing, is that, you have your chocolates from farm to, the bar.
Yes.
And it's so amazing to devour such, the chocolates which come from, and that too from India, Indian farms.
Yes.
So can you tell me how did you start with this process, and how exactly did you come up with this, your experience?
So farm to bar, see, ultimately every chocolate is farm to bar because cocoa ultimately comes from farm for everyone.
Yes.
But how it's different from other chocolates or mass produced chocolates is that we as a chocolate company actually go to the farm
Yes.
and we control the quality right from there, versus a lot of mass chocolate companies who may have their headquarters maybe in some European country which don't grow cocoa, right?
Right.
And the cocoa farming is actually happening thousands of miles away in some other continent.
True.
So that's one advantage of us being at the origin in
Right.
Kerala, which is the cocoa growing hub of India,
Right.
that we are very close to cocoa. In fact, our factory is just 1 kilometer away from our cocoa farm.
How nice.
So we are actually at our farm pretty much every day.
Right.
And we are seeing at what stage of ripening the fruit is at, when is the right time to harvest it, how should we ferment it. We are checking our fermentation box every day, taking the temperature to see when we should stop the fermentation. So this closeness to cocoa is what I think enables us to produce better quality cocoa, which ultimately leads to better quality chocolate, because good chocolate can only come from good quality cocoa.
True. Very true.
So this is how any chocolate company which is at the origin and very close to cocoa benefits,
True.
because they can control their quality better.
Okay, that's amazing. So as you said that, the quality has to be controlled much better because,
Yes.
with good quality comes good chocolates.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about the process of, making
Yeah.
the chocolates which you have at Paul and Mike?
Right. So the cocoa to chocolate process has got certain critical parts. So the first bit of it happens at the farm, which is when should you harvest the pod, the fruit basically. So cocoa fruit is basically like a papaya with a thick shell,
Right,
and inside
yes.
you've got a bunch of seeds which are covered in pulp, not very different from say a custard apple,
Yes.
just a larger version of it.
Yes.
So if you harvest the pod before ripening, it
Okay.
won't have enough pulp,
Okay.
and you won't get proper fermentation. You won't get proper flavor development. So only the ripened pod should be used for making chocolate, to take to fermentation stage.
True.
So when you harvest is very critical. Which pods you harvest, which pods you don't harvest is very critical.
True.
So that is the first bit. The second bit is after you harvest them and after you have taken out the seeds from the pod and put them into a
Yes.
wooden box for fermentation for say 5 to 7 days,
Yes.
you have to monitor it very carefully,
True.
because there is no set time for fermentation. The time that it takes to ferment properly varies season to season. So in winters
Yes.
it would take longer, in summers it would take shorter.
True.
So every batch has to be constantly monitored, and you have to take a call as to when you should stop the fermentation.
True.
So that is the second stage. First is harvesting, right time to harvest. The
Right.
second is right duration of fermentation. After that, we dry the beans, and after that, we take them to roasting.
Right.
Now, roasting is another critical element, because how you roast has a profound effect on the flavor
Right.
profile of the
Right.
beans.
Yes.
So again, for our kinds of chocolates, we don't roast the beans very high, because if we roast them too high, all the delicate flavors would be sort of, volatilized off,
Okay. Yes.
and what you will be left with will be a very one-dimensional, cooked kind of a flavor.
Very true.
So that careful roasting is also very important. We also have different roasting profiles for different kinds of beans. So say if
Correct.
you are using beans from Kerala, we'll roast it in a different way. If you are roasting beans from Andhra, we'll roast it a different way.
Okay.
And those protocols have been finalized after a lot of trials and errors. So harvesting, then proper fermentation, then careful roasting. This is what gives you a very high quality raw material, which can then go into chocolate making.
True. Yes.
So these roasted beans are then mixed with milk powder or sugar,
right.
depending on what kind of chocolate you're making, be it dark or milk.
Yes.
And there are two critical steps. One is size reduction.
Yes.
So the silky mouthfeel that we associate with chocolates, typically, smooth, silky.
Yes.
That is a function of what particle size you reduce it down to. The finer the particle size, the smoother it feels on your tongue.
Okay.
So typically, 16 to 18 microns is what a very smooth chocolate would be.
16 to 18 microns.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It's really fine, very fine.
Yes.
So you have to grind it really fine. That is first part. The second part is after it has been ground very fine,
yes,
you have to remove certain bad flavors which are there naturally in the cocoa, certain harsh notes like acidity, a little bit of bitterness, little bit of astringency. These have to be sort of blown away.
Okay.
And that process is called conching. So in a nutshell, once you get your roasted cocoa beans, there are two critical steps: size reduction,
yes,
and conching.
Okay.
Which gives a very pleasant tasting and a very silky, smooth chocolate.
Interesting.
So there are a lot of steps and every step has its own importance. If you miss any step,
yes,
the final output is not going to be great.
Yeah, yes. The process is too long.
Yeah.
Do you have any protocols or guidelines for these processes?
Absolutely. So for every step, we have clear guidelines. We train the people.
Yes.
And those protocols, those SOPs, standard operating procedures, they are pasted on the walls of a factory, of a fermentary. So yeah, I mean, we have to take a lot of care at every step.
Okay, now understanding your protocols. Now coming to in recent times, we are experiencing erratic weather.
Yeah.
We are experiencing rainfall suddenly.
Yes.
So does it affect the production and, the way the cacao is made, or the plantations?
Yes, in any industry where you're procuring raw materials, this disruption is always to be expected.
Yeah.
So we are also always prepared for it, and to mitigate the impact of bad weather or say untimely rains or maybe some cyclone or drought, what we do is we always stagger our sourcing from different regions.
Okay.
Now in India, actually we are very blessed because in India we have three major states where cocoa comes from. So we have Kerala, we have Tamil Nadu, and then we have Andhra. Karnataka also produces, but it's not a major producer of cocoa.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So now the peak season in Andhra it starts from January to March. And from April onwards, the season in Kerala starts.
Okay.
So that lasts up to say August.
Okay, yes.
And after August, from September onwards, the season starts in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Which goes on till November, December. So pretty much any time of the year, you have some crop coming from some state or the other.
True.
And we also try and do that so that in any given year, if say there is a deficit in cocoa sourcing from say Kerala, we have at least two other states to make up that deficit. And I think that's what pretty much every chocolate company in the world does. They have their sourcing from different parts of the world.
Which is necessary, yes.
Yeah, which is absolutely necessary. So, we can't control nature, but we can control our strategy.
Agreed.
That's what we do.
True. So on every chocolate bar, it is written farmers to fermenters. Can you tell me what does it signify?
It's farmers and fermenters.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So farmers and fermenters basically signifies that Paul and Mike as a brand is not only about chocolate making.
Right.
We actually are at the origin, and farming and fermenting is also a part of our DNA as a brand.
Okay.
Because we have our own cocoa farm.
Yes.
We know cocoa farming. We do our own fermentation. And the farmers also that we work with, partner farmers say in Andhra, we train them on what fermentation protocols to follow. So we believe that farming practices of cocoa, when you harvest cocoa, how you ferment cocoa, that is the most integral and the most important part of the chocolate making process, because rest all you can do with machines.
Yes.
Say roasting and size reduction or conching.
Yes.
But farming, fermentation, harvesting is something for which even today there are no machines. It's all done by people. And that's where our expertise or uniqueness as a brand lies, and our differentiation lies.
So that's very interesting. Hence why there's farmers and fermenters on.
We want the consumers to know that they are buying a chocolate which has been made by people who actually farm and ferment cocoa.
That's really nice. Interesting. And I also wanted to know, coming from an IIT and IIM background and having no experience in confection, in chocolate making.
Yeah.
And now you're making chocolate right now. I mean, can you tell me your experience? Like, what made you think of actually becoming a chocolatier, or having your own cacao farm as well as selling
Right.
chocolates?
Well, you know what is the background of Elon Musk before he made rockets?
Ideally
He
not.
was a software engineer.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
So I don't think experience has got anything to do with what you eventually do.
Yes.
So in any field, in any space, you have to go in with the mindset of problem solving.
Agreed.
So even chocolate making, if you see, it's a series of steps.
Yes.
Every step has its own challenges. You have to figure out how to address those challenges and produce a good output. So it's just that. And as far as education is concerned, I think engineering, it always teaches you how to approach a problem in a systematic manner by breaking it down into smaller steps.
Right.
So that's where the knowledge comes in. Then chocolate making has a lot
Yeah.
of chemistry involved in it. I mean, you can guess, obviously, it's a
Of
food
course it
product,
does.
and there are properties of different molecules which are there in chocolate. So obviously, knowledge of chemistry definitely helps.
Yes.
And as far as the management background is concerned, of course, that's absolutely helpful, because to build your strategy, to understand the market, to conduct consumer surveys, to create your promotional strategies. I mean, educational background definitely helps.
True.
with
Very
that.
true. So nothing goes for a waste, ideally.
No, absolutely not. Like, I remember what Steve Jobs said. He attended that calligraphy class in college, and when he was designing the typefaces for his computer,
Yes.
that knowledge helped. He understood the importance of that.
Yes. True.
So
My
I
God,
think-
Steve Jobs is something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Agreed.
so no piece of knowledge ever goes waste in
Amazing.
some form or the other. It comes to your use.
Very true. Very true. So I wanted to know, from what you said, the education and everything. Now, you come up with such innovative ideas, like from masala chai chocolate, which has won the gold award. Then there is sitafal, jamun, fruits. I mean, the fruit flavors.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, like, do you do that seasonal? Like, how do you come up with such ideas?
So as far as the ideas are concerned, some of it is planned,
Right.
and a lot of it is serendipitous. So what we do is, we have our own process of constant brainstorming within our team as to what the trends are. We obviously keep a track of what other chocolate players in other parts of the world are doing, and if something's interesting, innovative, we also want to replicate it. But I'll give you an example which clearly depicts how serendipity comes into the picture.
Yes.
So there was one gifting company which was launching a game. I think it was named Rummy something,
Right.
card game for
Yes.
Diwali, and they approached us. They said, we want a rum chocolate to go in that hamper. Can you create one? So we created one rum chocolate for them,
Right.
but we were not satisfied. So we said, okay, now these people have given us one idea, rum chocolate. How do we take it to the next level? So we said people generally like texture in their chocolate, nuts or fruits or maybe some grains, something that they can chew on, maybe crispies. So we said, okay, let's pair rum with raisins, because that's a classic combination. But even in that, we said, okay, let's have some different kinds of raisins. So within our company, we have a very innovative product, which is called rummy raisins. Now, I'm
Yes.
not going to reveal the recipe of it, because that's a
course
trade
not.
secret.
But why not? You can actually reveal it.
Yeah, but only
Just
if it was only you, I would have revealed. But unfortunately, this podcast is going to reach a lot of people.
Yeah.
And my chefs will be very unhappy
Oh
if
God,
I reveal
they
this.
would.
So anyway, to cut a long story short,
Yeah.
this rum idea came from somebody outside.
Yes.
This rummy raisin was an in-house specialty.
True.
We married them together,
Okay.
and thus was born rum and rummy raisin chocolate, which is one of our best sellers.
Amazing.
So as I said, it's a combination of some brainstorming, some market research, some serendipity, and I think that's how generally innovation works. It's a very non-linear process. It's a very chaotic process.
And also, as I said, your fruits, which is jamun, sitafal, do you all plant that seasonally? How does it?
Not seasonally. Our vendors plan it seasonally.
Right.
We procure the fresh fruit from the farmers.
True.
But then they freeze dry it. And a freeze dried fruit, because all the moisture has been removed, it has got a longer shelf life of say 2 years, 3 years.
Right.
So good thing is we can use it even outside the season. Like
True.
these mango drinks, har mausam aam. So you can have har mausam jamun and har mausam sitafal.
Amazing. That's really interesting. And also, as we were speaking about, the way you all come up with such processes, the Sichuan pepper with orange peel. How did you come up with such an amazing flavor? It's very interesting, and I have not heard about it anywhere.
So again, I think it was a bit of planning, a bit of serendipity. So there was this chocolate show which was going to take place in Shanghai.
Yes.
And from my travels to China, before that, I knew that Sichuan pepper is very widely used and loved by Chinese in their noodles and soups, etc. So we thought, why not pair Sichuan pepper with chocolate? But when we tried it, we thought on its own, it's not exciting enough.
Right.
So we went into a few culinary books to see how Sichuan pepper is generally used in desserts or maybe ice creams.
Right.
In other categories, but sweet dessert categories. So we found that Sichuan pepper is paired with orange peel. This pairing works well.
Interesting.
So that's how we borrowed this from ice cream category, this particular idea.
Ice cream category?
Yeah, in ice cream, there is a Sichuan pepper orange peel ice cream.
Where do you get that?
I don't know. I just searched, I found it somewhere. I don't even remember where.
So, I wanted to ask your collaboration with Sula and Swami. It's pretty popular. Many people know about it. So, I wanted to know what do you do? What is the process and what is the study you'll do behind adding such flavors with your chocolate and making it so tasty?
Yeah, these collaborations are always very exciting because they always present our team with new challenge as to how do we integrate flavors which are used in a totally different category, say wine or say in tonic waters. And then how do we integrate it into chocolate in such a way that it's still palatable and enjoyable for people. One reason why we always love to be a part of such collabs is that it really tests our creative muscle.
True.
It enhances our skill as chocolate makers. So that is the larger goal.
True.
Now, as far as the actual process is concerned, what we do is we sit with the team on the other side in our collaboration partners.
The Sula, Swami or what.
And then we brainstorm with them certain options that we could test.
Okay.
And then we take those ingredients from them or those ideas and then we pair that with our chocolate. We do combined tastings. And then one thing leads to the other, ideas start flowing.
Yes.
We do a lot of iterations, a lot of tweakings. And then out of that chaos, finally something nice emerges.
Right.
So it's a very, what should I say, tedious, iterative, but fun process. And it's good because people also like to see such innovative products once in a while.
Interesting. Okay.
And in fact, this wine chocolate, it frequently keeps going out of stock because we supply most of it to Sula itself to be sold in their own vineyard.
True.
In Nasik. And we always get complaints from our customers that, it's always out of stock.
True, correct. Yes.
So I guess, it's nice for everyone, for our creative team also, because they, as I said, they enhance their skill.
True.
Their culinary or chef skills. And it's good for the customers also because they like to see such innovative products.
How lovely. So I wanted to know that chocolate many times, especially over here in India, people consider it that, it gives cavities, obesity, diabetes.
Yeah.
So that is not considered. I mean, people in the West or the British, they don't really consider that as the case. So what do you have to say for the Indian market or the belief system which we have?
See, anything which is a small part of an otherwise healthy lifestyle and consumed in moderation is perfectly fine.
True.
So there are no inherently bad foods as long as you are having them in moderation and consciously.
True.
So for instance, average per capita consumption of chocolate in these Western nations is around 5 kg, 4 kg in this range.
Right.
In some countries even 10 kgs.
Yes.
Whereas in India it would be maybe, 100 grams, 200 grams, maybe half a kg for certain segments. So I don't think chocolate or any other sweet food in itself is a problem. I think it's in what dosage, in what quantities you are consuming it, and whether you have an otherwise
Mm-hmm.
active lifestyle outside of that
True, very
food
true.
is also a big
Yes,
contributor
it's
to it.
important. So ideally, as from what you said, that the Britishers generally they have this chocolate after 8 minutes after dinner.
Yeah,
Ideally.
yeah.
So what do you have? I mean, it's very similar to what you have said, but what do you would like to say to the Indian market apart from being healthy and apart from going with a good lifestyle? What chocolate do you recommend for an Indian taste palette post dinner?
So I think dark chocolates are typically good because they have a lot of antioxidants and they are good for the heart health. They are good for the brain also.
Right.
So I think a high cocoa percentage dark chocolate after dinner is great. And maybe you could have, in Indian context, maybe a rose chocolate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe we should come up with a soft chocolate. I don't know.
Oh wow, soft chocolate. That's pretty interesting. Are you coming up with soft chocolate?
No, I mean I hadn't thought of it, but now that you have said it, we'll definitely test it.
Amazing.
We'll see how it comes out.
So similarly, the aphrodisiac chocolate, which they are the dark chocolates which are making
Tabs, yeah.
which are making headlines that you can have those chocolates before having sex. So these chocolates, what are your views about it? You think?
Well, I haven't tried it, so I can't vouch for its efficacy. But to me, it sounds more like a placebo effect. Where you just assume something works and it works because you think it works. So that's what basically placebo effect is, right?
Yeah, it's the market tactic is what you're saying.
Yeah, you just assume that it works and that's why it works. So I think it's more psychological. Yeah, rather than biological is what I believe.
Interesting, because recently when I went to Lindt, in Lindt, when you go, you check the museums and, when the rich actually get the chocolate and the women used to love it and, the food gives a particular, sense in the brains as well, which, as you said, is the placebo effect.
Yes, yes.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think, because unless they publish a proper scientific study that it works, how do you trust these claims?
Okay, all right. I'm not going to ask you more. So how do you define our Indian cacao taste compared to other countries in the world?
Okay, so a couple of things here. One, I don't think there's any country taste as far as cacao is concerned, because even within India, for instance, there are some variations between regions. So say a Kerala cacao will be a little different from the cacao which grows in a hotter region in Andhra, for instance. But still, I think there are certain common threads, because say the genetics might be common.
Right.
So in the Indian cacao, I would say a note which we have found common between different regions is the raisin note. So Indian cacao I would call as more raisiny than other regions. Similarly, I think it's the Peruvian cacao, the Ecuadorian cacao. Ecuadorian, I think there you'll always find a slight floral note.
Interesting.
From most parts of Ecuador.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how Indian chocolate is a little different. It's more raisiny.
Yeah. While you said, it reminded me about something, the cheese, which you generally get, the cows which they generally have, there's a farm. And, basically whatever the cow grazes on, the milk which is processed from the cow is something which the cheese flavor comes to. How do you relate that to chocolate and cheese? I mean, as you spoke about the flowery flavor, it just made me go there, because there are, I mean, I am a cheese lover. I have tasted some flowery notes in cheese as well.
Yeah, right. So there are many theories around it. Some people say that if there are a lot of orange trees in the cocoa farm, for instance, your chocolate will taste of orange. It will have some citrusy notes.
Yeah, is that the case?
See, I don't think that's the case, because if the logic were true, then the oranges should have chocolate taste. Then the oranges in the same farm should have chocolate taste, no? So I don't think it's that. What I believe is that because we grow our cacao, we collect cacao, we ferment, then we store it. So I know how it works behind the scenes. I guess what happens is that when you're processing after the harvesting, when you are say using the same containers for storage or the same gunny bags or maybe the same room, those aromas may sort of seep into the other food and you feel it's coming from the soil or the surroundings in the farm.
True.
Whereas I think there's a greater probability that it's happening outside the farm.
Possible. Possible. Very true. But I think there must be any study about it.
I think I remember reading somewhere that actually it's a myth, what you said, no? That the trees growing nearby can affect the flavor in each other. It's a bit of a myth. I think there's no scientific basis behind it.
So how has Paul and Mike put the Indian cacao in the global market?
I think our small contribution in putting India on global cacao map is that till few years back, all the awards at these international competitions were won by chocolate makers mainly in Latin America or Europe, and from Asia mainly from Taiwan.
Okay.
But now, for instance, this year is the first time that in the dark chocolate with inclusion category, which is one of the most contested categories, our scores have been higher than the scores of the people who used to win golds in this particular category till a few years back.
True, very true.
And in this particular category, the chocolate which was ranked number 2, number 3 was ours.
Yes.
So definitely now it means that the jury of these awards, which is a very accomplished jury, they have started to see that the chocolate makers from India are able to produce chocolate at par with other leading chocolate makers in the world, which are known for their quality.
True.
So I think to that extent, we have definitely made people take notice that yes, something is happening in India. Something right is happening in India.
Yes. Thank God. I mean, that's really nice. So before starting the journey of the chocolate connoisseur, you and your team got trained to become chocolate tasters.
Yes.
So how can one become a chocolate taster?
Interesting question. So actually it's a very fun course, honestly.
Yes.
And great thing is you can become a chocolate taster right here in India.
Okay.
You don't need to travel abroad for this.
Interesting, yeah.
So there's an institute called International Institute for Cacao and Chocolate Tasting, which is headquartered in London.
Right.
But they conduct these courses throughout the world in different countries. And course has been happening in India also for the last 3 years.
Right.
So you can go to the website. There's a form which is to be filled. The dates for the courses are also given. Typically, to become a certified chocolate taster, you have to go through 3 levels.
Okay.
Level 1, level 2, level 3.
Right.
Level 1 and level 2 are conducted in India and they happen in continuation.
Okay.
Over a period of 3 days.
Right.
So on the first day you have level 1. You can drop out after that if you want, or you can take part in the next 2 days also.
Right.
And then if you pass an exam at the end of it, you get level 2 certification.
True.
For level 3, you have to actually travel to a country of origin of cacao.
Okay.
That's a longer course, which is typically for around 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
So, for instance, last year, this course happened in India.
Right.
People from around the world traveled to India. And Paul and Mike also was one of the factories that they visited as a part of their field visits.
Yes.
So, they, in this particular
How
course,
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first 2 levels are geared more towards chocolate tasting.
Yes.
So they just make you taste a lot of different chocolates, good chocolates, bad chocolates, so that you train your nose and your palate to differentiate between good and bad chocolates.
Yes.
And different kinds of chocolates.
Yes.
Level 3 goes deeper. It also goes into cocoa.
Okay.
How cocoa is fermented.
Right.
What is a badly fermented cocoa, what is a good, well fermented cocoa. how chocolate is actually made, what are the practical considerations in a chocolate factory that a chocolate maker should be aware of.
Oh God, yeah.
In terms of machinery, parameters, So you actually go much deeper in level 3.
Interesting.
So that's how you basically become a chocolate taster at the end of it.
Amazing.
But as I said, good news is 3 levels, but good news is first 2 levels take place in India every year.
How nice. So there are more opportunities today.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, nowadays from India, I think every year at least 10 people take part in level 2. So the number of certified chocolate tasters in India is increasing every year.
Interesting. And so is the business.
So is the business, yeah.
With the level 2 comes more demand.
Yeah, absolutely. We get 10 diehard consumers every year.
Yes. Amazing. So we have 9% of vegan population in India.
Okay, that's news to me. Is it that high? Really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, awesome.
People are converting, I think. I mean, I don't know why, but yes. So, sorry, I mean, for the vegan folks, of course, but it's very good. What I want to know is that how is the market for the vegan consumers? And with the chocolates as well as the drinks?
Okay, so we see one big misconception which a lot of our consumers also have, and which I want to clarify, is that all the dark chocolates are by default vegan friendly because they do not have any animal product in them.
Oh, very nice.
And there's another distinction which I want to make, especially for other food manufacturers, that there's a huge difference when it comes to vegan versus vegan friendly when it comes to consumer acceptance. That's what we have realized in our practical experience.
Oh, really?
The moment you put vegan on a food product, 91% of the people who are non-vegans,
yeah, I do that.
they will not touch it because they'll think it will taste awful.
Oh, really?
But if you put vegan friendly, those people will think, okay, it's not designed for vegans. It's just that it is appropriate for vegans as well.
Okay.
So it's not inherently awful tasting.
Okay. Actually what I do is I buy the vegan product.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah.
So that's something we found out after having burnt our hands because we put vegan word on a lot of our dark chocolates.
Okay.
And after some time we realized that people started seeing us as a vegan dark chocolate company.
Okay.
But instead of boosting our sales, we think it somewhere hurt our sales because non-vegans were not touching. They might have thought, oh, it's a bad tasting dark chocolate because it is vegan.
Really?
When the reality is that all dark chocolates are by definition vegan.
Okay.
So now we have started putting vegan friendly.
Interesting. Okay. So ideally, I was actually about to ask you because I was very, very curious that, while butter and milk are the, regular products which you're supposed to be using for chocolates. So I was about to ask you, how do you source, the vegan products? And as you said, the dark chocolate.
So the butter that is used in chocolates is not the butter which comes from milk. It is cocoa butter which comes from cocoa.
Yes.
The bean.
Yes.
Just like almond butter or nut butters basically.
Yes.
So it's a vegan butter. Because it comes from plant.
Right.
As far as the milk is concerned, yes, of course, that comes from cows or whatever, goats or whatever.
But how about the vegan milk, which is the Japanese rice milk?
Yes.
Which they make it from the rice, Japanese rice.
So we have a vegan milk product also.
Yes.
For that we use rice milk, which we actually grow in Kerala, that particular variety of rice. And then we use that particular rice to derive rice milk out of. And then we convert it into a powder, and that's what we use in some of our chocolates. But then you could as well use, say, oat milk powder or almond milk powder or coconut milk powder as well. Yeah. So all these possibilities are there. And in fact, there are chocolate makers who are using all these different kinds of vegan milk powders in their chocolates.
That's really nice. So, understanding apart from the vegan, which is really nice. I mean, you all have a lot of flavors.
Yeah.
I also wanted to know that, handcrafted chocolates.
Yes.
They are, people can give a higher price for handcrafted chocolates. So do you think that in the future we have a better market for handcrafted chocolates than the bigger giants which we have today in the chocolate industry?
Definitely. And it's not just restricted to chocolates. I think it is true in every single category, food as well as non-food today.
Right.
Because consumers are becoming more and more aspirational.
Right.
Till a few years back, the highest selling cars category in India was the small cars.
True, very
Today
true.
it is SUVs.
Right.
Every second car sold in India today is SUV.
I didn't know that smaller cars were in the market. Anyways, interesting to know. Sorry. Yes.
So I think the same story is translating across every category today in India. People are
Yes.
upgrading.
Uh-huh.
People are demanding better.
Yes.
And that is true in chocolates as well.
Correct.
People are upgrading.
Yes.
And hence the consumption of premium chocolates, including handcrafted chocolates, is bound to go up.
Interesting. But, of course, yeah. I think I agree with you because even Cadbury has started coming up with different varieties.
Yes.
Which, a lot of us consumers are looking for, and all of us require a different taste every time.
Yes. So Cadbury's, even mass chocolate companies, for instance, they also have brands for different tiers, at different tiers. So
Right.
Cadbury's will have a dairy milk.
Yes.
And then they will have a silk above that.
Right.
Then they will have maybe a Bonville.
Right.
Then they'll have a Temptations.
Yes.
And I'm sure in future they'll come up with something on top of that as well.
True. Very
So that is
true.
always happening. In fact, just a couple of weeks back, Mars, which is again a biggie in the chocolate space internationally, they acquired a premium chocolate brand called Hotel Chocolat in UK.
Okay.
And now they have plans to take that premium chocolate brand to other countries as well, say to US, to Japan, to other countries in Europe. So even the mass chocolate companies, they know that upgradation is happening
True.
internationally, and hence they also want these premium brands in their portfolio
True. Very true.
to cater to that segment.
Agreed. So, speaking about these big brands, I mean, globally renowned, of course, I want to know that when we go to different countries, we see, Lindt,
Yeah.
or we see various other chocolates having their museums and their own space on how they create their chocolate and everything.
Yes.
Why don't we have this in India? I mean, what is your view on this?
I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah?
I think one sort of a chocolate space came up in Hyderabad recently by Manam. But if you see, maybe not in
Which
chocolates.
chocolate space is
Manam.
that? Manam. Okay.
Manam chocolates in
Okay.
Hyderabad. They have created a nice visitor center.
Wow.
Chocolates where you can see how chocolate is made. You can try different ice creams or
Right.
desserts or bonbons, a lot of things made with chocolate and all. So it's a nice store. And maybe not in chocolates, but if you look at other categories, say wine.
Right.
So we have Sula,
Sula
which
wine,
is an
of
experience. You have Paul John and whiskey in Goa,
Yes.
right? And I think it's just a matter of time before something like that comes up in India. And who knows, we might be the ones to
I was
bring
about
it,
to ask you that. Amazing. So, my next question is that in the ancient Mayan times, cacao, the dry fermented cacaos used to be used as coins, and it used to be used as money as well as, later on it became more than money and people started using it for tax and for marriage proposals.
Yeah.
What do you think? How is it in today? I mean, why did that stop? And
Well, I don't know why it stopped, but I think money or rather coins, they
Yes.
took over as a means of exchange of value
Yes.
globally, because that's obviously more convenient. It doesn't go bad. It can't be eaten by insects or rats, So definitely it's more convenient, more safe as a store of value. In today's times, if you see, maybe not cocoa, but definitely chocolate to some extent has taken over, maybe not as a means of exchange of value, but definitely as a symbol for the strength of your relationship or of your emotion, because chocolate is perhaps, along with flowers, the most widely gifted item in the world.
true.
So definitely, it has retained some of that appeal,
True, very true.
in terms of human relationships.
That's really nice. And of course, it makes sense because, yes, societies have progressed from Mayan times, of course.
Yeah, of course, we want humans to progress also.
Of course. So, I wanted to know that Africa, the cacao farms which are there,
Yeah.
the Africans, I mean, the people, especially from the farms, have not
Yeah.
tasted cocoa or chocolate even. And it has been exported to Switzerland,
Yes.
which has now become a billion-dollar industry today.
Yeah.
So, what?
More than $1 billion industry.
Very true. So, what are your views on that?
I think it's a very complicated thing. So we could obviously give it a moral undertone, but I think it's a combination of so many factors, including economics and colonization and whatnot. Maybe
True, very true.
maybe the fact that the governments which came after independence in Africa were maybe more socialist and communist, and
Agreed.
maybe there was a lot of political unrest which prevented any investments and growth in these countries. So I mean, it's very complicated. It's a lot of history, politics,
Very true.
etc., etc. But good thing is now, in the new century, things are changing very fast. African countries are also developing very fast, and I think these stories that we've heard of farmers have never tasted chocolates, I think maybe it's no longer true.
No longer true. Yes. True.
And a lot of African countries are now making their own chocolates. The supply chain is shifting towards origin. So slowly but surely, change is happening. And a lot of bean-to-bar makers also have come up in Africa. In fact, even in countries as remote as Madagascar, for instance.
Okay, interesting.
So definitely things are looking up, and just like any other supply chain, cocoa supply chain is also progressing, evolving.
Lovely. So which are the other countries and places do you think the cacao has been or is being procured? Which are the countries and spaces where the cacao is being exported?
The top two exporters of cacao are Ghana and Ivory Coast.
Lovely,
Ghana is an ex-British colony. Ivory Coast is a French colony.
Yes.
So these are the top two countries, and the third largest exporter of cacao is Indonesia.
Right.
So these are the top three countries, but other than that, pretty much every tropical country, which is in plus minus 10 degrees of equator,
right,
grows cacao, including India, in south of India, including Sri Lanka, including Papua New Guinea, including Malaysia, Thailand, including even Hawaii in America.
How lovely.
Yeah, so cacao is truly an international crop. I think the only continent where cacao does not grow is Europe. Even in Australia, in the northern part of Australia,
yes,
a bit of cacao grows.
So what do you think about India? While cacao is growing in India, do we have enough cacao for exports? Like, do we export them?
So, no, India doesn't produce cacao which is sufficient for its
enough.
own needs. We have to import cacao. But the part of the reason is that in India, farmers have many other alternative, more lucrative crops such as palm, such as coconut, such as spices.
True.
So cacao has to compete against them.
True.
But very good thing is now a lot of people, a lot of farmers in India are taking up cacao as an intercrop. So for instance, within palm plantations in Andhra, they are putting cocoa as an intercrop.
Okay.
In Tamil Nadu, a lot of coconut farmers are putting cocoa as an intercrop in their coconut plantations.
Yes.
So that is a heartening trend, because of which obviously the supply is increasing in India. But still, I think the demand is increasing more than the supply.
Right.
So we still have to import.
So while you procure your cacao from Coimbatore as well as Kerala, you also procure it from Idukki.
No, we procure it from Andhra.
Okay.
Yeah, and Idukki also sometimes we procure from.
Lovely. So which part in India do you think has the largest cacao growing farms?
Today it's Andhra.
Okay.
Earlier it used to be Kerala.
Okay.
But in the last 10 years, Andhra has taken over.
I was not aware. I mean, I thought it was Kerala until now.
Yes.
That's
a lot of people still think that.
Yeah. Okay. So now we are going to start with our rapid fire questions.
Great.
So my first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10 being most, how much of a sweet tooth do you consider yourself?
I'm not a sweet tooth. I'm maybe 5.
Are you serious?
So, yeah, I prefer dark chocolates. I like coffee without sugar, tea without sugar. But occasionally I do cheat with some sweets.
Oh, really? But I know that most of your chocolates are not dark.
Most of our chocolates are dark.
All right, just kidding. The next question is 3 top selling chocolates from Paul and Mike that are on international palette.
I would say Sichuan pepper and orange peel. I would say almonds and pink salt, because salt is very popular internationally. And I would say coffee.
Oh, nice. Coffee is very global, by the way.
Yeah, of course, it is. The most consumed beverage in the world.
Of course, true. So the next is name 3 of the wicked chocolate flavors invented at Paul and Mike.
It's a good one. One is definitely capers,
Okay.
which is care in Hindi. So we make pickles of it, no? Care ka
Interesting.
achar.
Yeah.
So we actually took care and we coated milk chocolate, and that in fact won a gold at International Chocolate Awards Asia Pacific last year.
Oh no, I have not tasted that.
You should.
I should.
So either you will love it or you'll hate it. There's no in between.
There's no in between. Amazing.
The other one is thandai.
Yeah, Thanda.
Now, a lot of people can't imagine thandai in a chocolate. But trust me, it's actually a great flavor.
It is.
So
I love
everybody
it.
who's tasted has loved it.
Yes.
And then the third wicked flavor would be, during COVID times, we actually combined curcumin, which comes from turmeric,
Okay.
with piperine, which comes from pepper,
Okay.
and gingerols, which come from ginger. These 3 bioactives into a chocolate,
And-
which was meant to basically soothe your throat and hopefully give you some immunity.
Yes.
And it may sound very bad, but it actually tastes okay. That particular chocolate.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 very offbeat.
But how did
weird
that work
flavors.
out for the people?
It honestly didn't sell much, but whoever tasted it, they liked it. I also liked it.
Have you ever been a part of a cacao ceremony?
No, not yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I remember once I visited a cocoa station where they have a lot of varieties of cocoa
Yes.
planted in Trinidad, and when you enter there, they give you a local drink which is
Right.
made from cocoa, and it's actually it was very tasty. It has a lot of spices also in it.
Right.
So I remember that very distinctly, and in fact in our cafe also we have replicated that drink. We asked those people for that recipe, and we have replicated, and we have launched a drink which is called Paul's Secret Trinidadian Brew in our cafe.
Oh, lovely.
So that is as close as I went to a cacao ceremony.
How nice. I can imagine myself having a glass
Yes,
and drinking it while asking
Yeah,
you this
it's very
rapid fire.
delicious.
So name 3 traditions where chocolate is a must.
One is Valentine's.
Of course.
Then I think your Christmas, to stuff it in
Yes,
stockings
yes,
and
yes,
all for
yes.
kids. What else? Easter. Easter
that's-
bunnies.
Wow, that's a good answer. I mean, very well. Being the chocolate mafia, how often do
God.
you send gifts that have Paul and Mike
You
chocolates?
make me sound like Karan Johar, movie Mafia.
I mean, of course, I'm not Karan Johar.
But what was the question? Sorry, I missed after Mafia.
Being a chocolate mafia, how often do you send gifts that have Paul and Mike chocolates?
All the time, very frequently.
Yeah?
Yeah, during Raksha Bandhan, during Diwali, during birthdays. In fact, now we've got some merchandise also, like Paul and Mike caps.
Oh,
so that
wow.
we are giving out to my son's friends on his birthday.
How sweet.
So it's free marketing for us, no?
Nice. Of course, it is. True. Now, name a chocolater who is your idol.
The one that I can think of right now is Guido Castagna of Italy,
Lovely.
who actually scored highest in this year's International Chocolate Awards. One
How
of his
lovely.
chocolates scored 94.4, which was the highest
wow.
score. He's really good, and consistently he wins golds in this award year after year, year after year.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
So hopefully one day we'll be able to surpass him.
Amazing. We are hoping for that as well.
Yeah.
So, my last question now. Recommend a must-have beverage at the Micro Cafe.
So Paul's Secret Trinidadian Brew is definitely a must-have.
Of course.
Other than that, my personal favorite is just a plain dark drinking chocolate.
Interesting.
It's simple but very delicious.
Lovely. Amazing. So the ones who are not sweet tooth should try the second one?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Amazing. So I'm done with my rapid fire question, Vikas. Thank you so much for being a part of my show, finding time for this show coming from Bangalore. I think I am honored having you here.
The pleasure is
And
all mine. Thank you for having me.
It has been very
It was a
inspiring.
fun experience for me also.
Thank you so much.
And the questions were very lovely, very well researched.
I am so glad
And
it is done by my team and me.
It's a great
So-
great job that you guys have done.
Amazing. And we are going to be planting 100 trees on your behalf.
Amazing.
So thank you so much, Vikas. And you have been very inspiring for me. I'm sure you're going to be very inspiring for the viewers as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.